Welcome back to the deep dive. Have you ever felt that familiar knot of frustration trying to get someone you really care about, a partner, family, a friend, to change something you genuinely think would make their life better?
Oh, yeah. And the harder you push.
The more they seem to dig in their heels, right?
Exactly. It's that classic thing where, your good intentions kind of turn into this battle almost. Creates distance, not connection, and definitely not change.
Definitely not. Well, our source material today dives right into this. It's a really insightful chapter called Unlock the Power of Your Influence.
Hmm.
And it introduces this pretty powerful concept called the let them theory. And it also gives us a practical tool, like a step-by-step thing, the ABC loop for handling these exact situations.
Yeah, it's quite practical. So our mission here for this
Mhm.
deep dive is really to pull out the core insights.
Yeah.
We want to figure out why pressure just doesn't work, understand how influence actually works based on, the research, and then walk through this method, this ABC thing, that you might be able to use to, well, maybe spark some motivation in someone else.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The source kicks things off by tackling the main problem, the one we all recognize. When you try to actively pressure someone to change, what actually happens?
Resistance. That's
Yep.
it. Just resistance.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. And the source is really clear about why. It boils down to something kind of basic.
Mhm.
Adults only really do what they feel like doing.
Sounds almost too simple.
Well, it is, but it's deep. It's apparently rooted in this hardwired survival instinct we all have. This really strong need to feel like we're in control.
Control of our own lives.
Our thoughts, our actions, decisions, the whole deal. It's fundamental.
Okay. So when you come along and apply pressure, even if you mean well,
Their brain instantly sees it as a threat to that control.
and that instinct just kicks in, push back.
Exactly. It feels like a fight for their autonomy, their independence. And that fight, well, it doesn't just strain the relationship. The
Mhm.
source actually says it's like you're literally working against the wiring in their brain.
Wow.
So that tension, that frustration you feel, it might not even be about them being stubborn.
Mm.
It's more likely your pressure setting off their natural defense.
Okay, that actually explains a lot. So the core idea is
Right.
pressure isn't just like annoying, it triggers a basic survival response. You're fighting biology.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So if pressure is the problem,
Yeah.
what is the solution? This is where the let them theory comes in, right?
Right. And this theory, it has two parts, both really powerful, and they kind of work together.
Yeah.
The first part is let them be.
Let them be.
Yeah. It's about acceptance,
Yeah.
like radical acceptance. Choosing consciously to accept other people exactly as they are right now. No changing them.
So letting go, giving up that idea that you can actually control what they do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Giving up the illusion of control.
But wait, isn't let them be just giving up or maybe even, enabling them if what they're doing is genuinely harmful?
That's a really important distinction the source makes. It's not about giving up on them.
Okay.
It's about giving up your need to control them. Recognizing that, well, the control wasn't real anyway, and the pressure was just making things worse. It's like a strategic release. It lets the tension go down,
Okay. Strategic release. I
Yeah.
like that. And that leads to the second part.
which is let me.
Let me. Shifting the focus.
Totally. Let me is all about redirecting that energy, that desire for change, that frustration back onto yourself.
Onto what I can control.
Precisely. Your own behavior, your attitude, your choices. The source is super clear. This is where your real power lies, your power to influence.
Okay, I get the let them be and let me distinction, but how does focusing on my stuff, on let me, actually influence them? If I stop the pressure, how does my change help them change?
Well, this is where the science is pretty cool, actually.
Hmm.
Decades of research show that we humans are, intensely social.
Right.
We're hugely influenced by the people around us, often without even realizing it. The source mentions Dr. Sharad's work on social contagion.
Social contagion. Like catching a cold, but with behavior.
Kind of. Yeah. It's basically saying positive behaviors can be contagious.
So like when you see someone online just raving about a book they loved, and suddenly you're thinking, maybe I should read that.
Exactly. Or even simpler things like the examples in the source. You see someone on the train just really enjoying a crisp apple.
Mm-hmm.
Or you notice a coworker, they always go for a walk at lunch consistently. When you see someone else doing something and it looks like it's working for them, maybe they make it look easy or enjoyable, or they're getting results you kind of want.
Your brain just notices.
It's hardwired to move toward it. often subconsciously.
So the real power isn't telling them what to do, it's showing them,
On s-
modeling the behavior yourself.
yes, but, and this is key, making it look genuinely appealing, easy, fun even.
Right. You can't nag someone about eating healthy while you're, complaining about your own diet and munching on a croissant.
Exactly. But you can influence them by consistently choosing and visibly enjoying healthy food yourself. You make the positive choice look like the good, easy option.
Or like telling your partner or kids to get off their phones when yours is practically glued to your hand.
Right. Modeling better tech boundaries yourself.
Yeah.
Way more powerful than any lecture.
And the source calls this influence kind of sneaky.
Yeah, in a good way. Because you're influencing them, but they end up thinking the change was totally their idea.
Like that coworker walk example.
You see them every day. They seem more relaxed, more energy after their walk. You're stuck at your desk, feeling tense. You see this consistently.
And then one day, maybe the sun's out, and you just think, you know what? A walk sounds good. And you completely believe it just popped into your head.
And the source would say, aha, that was the influence. Your coworker just did their thing, made it look good, and your brain connected the dots.
That is powerful. It taps into how we naturally learn by watching and copying.
It really does. And Dr. Short's research backs this up. Modeling is effective. But, and this is a big but,
Patience.
loads of it, real patience.
The source said, 6 months, or even more, of just consistently modeling before you might see anything.
Yeah, it can take time. 6 months can feel like forever when you're waiting.
And it also really hammered home dropping expectations. Why is letting go of expectations so vital here?
Because if you're doing the modeling, expecting them to change, like on your schedule.
You're just going to get frustrated again.
Exactly. Disappointment, resentment, you're right back where you started, basically.
So you model because it works for you. It makes your life better. That's the let me part.
That's the primary driver. You can hope your influence works. You can hold out that hope, but you let go of the demand, the expectation.
And that frees you up. You're not needy about the outcome.
Precisely. You influence from a place of, calm, not desperation.
Okay, so consistent modeling, powerful, but it's a long game. What if you're running out of patience? Or you're just really stuck in a situation like a stalemate? Is there anything more active, but still not pressure?
Yes, that's exactly where the source introduces the ABC loop. It calls it an advanced technique.
The ABC loop sounds methodical.
It is. It's described as a structured, research-backed formula. It pulls together insights from different experts.
Okay.
And the whole point is to kind of neutralize that tension that's built up and create space for change. It uses techniques that are proven even in clinical settings. Motivational interviewing is mentioned.
Motivational interviewing. Okay, so this isn't just a casual chat.
No, the source stresses that. It needs some prep work. You got to approach it thoughtfully.
Your work first, and it starts with us, right? Getting clear on why this thing bothers us so much.
Exactly. And it gives us a tool for that. The 5 whys method.
The 5 whys from Sakichi Toyota, founder of Toyota.
That's the one. A way to dig down to the root cause of a problem.
Okay, so the process is you ask yourself, why does this person's behavior bother me so much? Write it down. Then ask, okay, why does that bother me? And repeat 5 times total.
Yep. Let's walk through that example from the source, the friend, worried about her husband's health.
Right. So first, why? Why does his health bother her?
Because he doesn't seem to care about it.
Okay, why does that bother her?
Because he's modeling unhealthy habits for the kids.
Why does that bother her?
Because, he's choosing small comforts,
Yeah.
beer, TV, ice cream, over taking care of himself. And honestly, she finds it unattractive.
Ooh, okay. Deeper level, why does that bother her?
Because he's the love of her life. And it feels selfish of him. She's scared he'll have a heart attack when he could be doing something about it.
Okay. And the 5th why does that bother her?
She's absolutely terrified she's going to lose him way too soon.
Wow. Yeah, that hits hard.
And the big insight the source pulls from this is, often when you dig down like that, the real reason you're upset is about you.
My fears, my judgments.
Your fears, like losing someone. Your judgments. Maybe your own insecurities. Or how you think their behavior reflects on you makes you look.
So realizing it's often about my stuff, my fear, my need for control, not just their problem, that must be key to letting go of the pressure before you even talk to them.
That's exactly it. It's less about fixing them, more about understanding your own reaction.
Okay, and this self-discovery, it's just for me, right? I don't need to share my 5 whys with them.
Nope. It's personal. The whole point is to free you up so you don't need them to change in a specific way. You can go into the conversation from a place of, like, clarity, strength,
Mm,
not neediness.
okay. Prep. Done. You understand your own drivers. Now for the actual ABC loop conversation. Step A is apologize, then ask open-ended questions. Starting with an apology that feels significant.
It really is. This whole step is based on those motivational interviewing techniques Dr. Key talks about in the source.
Right.
And the goal here is not to tell them what to do. Definitely not. It's to influence their own motivation from the inside out by creating a safe space for them to talk about how they feel about the situation, maybe about the gap between what they want and what they're doing.
So literally the opposite of pressure or lecturing.
Exactly. And starting with that apology, it totally changes the dynamic, disarms them. The source suggests something like, hey, I've been thinking and I realize I've been pretty judgmental, kind of pressuring you about your health, job search, whatever it is.
Okay.
And I want to apologize for that. And honestly, I realize I've never actually just asked you how you feel about it.
Wow. Yeah, starting there would completely shift the energy in the room.
It really can. And then you move to the ASK part. Open-ended questions only. Your job here is just to be curious. Genuinely curious.
No opinions, no solutions, no judgment.
None. Your thoughts are totally irrelevant here.
Yeah.
You're just trying to understand their world.
Okay. So questions like, how are you feeling about your health right now?
Exactly. And if they give a short answer, like, okay, you don't just jump in, you reflect it back or turn it into another question.
Like, what makes you feel okay about it? Or, so it sounds like you're feeling okay with things.
Yeah, or even, so it sounds like you're okay with your health because, well, you've kind of been this way for a while now.
And then maybe, how do you feel about that?
Oh.
Or what feels hard about maybe making a change?
Right. Or you could even acknowledge your part in the past tension. It must be really frustrating having me nagging you all the time, expecting more. Can you tell me a bit about how long you felt that way?
The point isn't to trap them, right? Or get a confession.
Not at all. You're just creating this space where they hear themselves talk about it. And sometimes hearing yourself talk about the gap between, say, what you want and what you're doing, it creates this little bit of internal discomfort for them.
Ah, and that discomfort, that internal tension, that's where their motivation might come from.
That's the idea. You're just being a compassionate, curious listener, a vehicle for them to maybe experience that disconnect themselves.
Let them talk and let me listen.
You nailed it. This step A conversation, it's really crucial for maybe waking up their own desire to change.
Got it. Step A, apologize, ask, let them talk, create that internal space. What's step B?
Step B is back off F and observe their behavior. Simple as that. After that conversation, you consciously, deliberately stop putting any pressure on them about that issue.
Let them process, let it all marinate.
Exactly. Give them space, give them time, give them distance. And while you're backing off on the pressure about the
I'm not
issue,
doing your let me thing.
you got it. You quietly keep modeling the positive behavior yourself, still making it look easy, enjoyable if possible.
And the space is important so they don't feel watched, like they're under a microscope, so if they do make a move, it feels like their choice.
Absolutely. You take away the external pressure so that internal tension from step A, if it's there, has room to maybe grow into their motivation. You just watch, observe their behavior. No comment, no expectation. If they start changing, great. If not,
Let them be.
let them be.
Okay. And this takes patience, again, especially if it's a long-standing thing, which brings us to step C.
Step C, celebrate progress while you continue to model change.
Celebrate. So notice the good stuff.
Yes. Actively acknowledge any progress you see. Doesn't matter how small it seems. Dr. Sherritt's research, mentioned in the source, really highlights this. Immediate positive feedback. It's a huge driver for change.
So using that example, if they finally go to the gym after months, the moment they walk back in the door, you give them a hug, say you're proud, maybe even, wow, you look great.
Yes, exactly like that. The source admits it might feel a little cheesy,
Yeah, a bit.
but the science backs it up. Giving that immediate positive reward, your genuine appreciation, your positive attention right after they did the hard thing. It links the effort directly to pleasure in their brain.
And humans move towards pleasure.
We're wired for it. So your positive attention, your genuine celebration becomes the pleasure they move towards. It makes them more likely to do the hard thing again.
So all that negative stuff, nagging, criticism, threats, trying to scare them, it just doesn't work as well as acceptance, support, and linking their effort to feeling good.
That's the core message. Acceptance, compassion, genuine support. way more effective.
Okay, this whole ABC framework is really clear now. Let's
Yeah.
just quickly recap the flow.
Sure.
The problem is pressure, because adults need to feel in control, and pressure just creates resistance. Your actual power isn't in force, it's in your influence, your modeling.
Exactly. Which leads to the let them theory. Accept others as they are, let them be, and focus your energy on your own behavior and attitude, let me. That's where your influence comes from.
And if you need a more structured way to deal with a really stuck situation, you use the ABC loop. Prep first, the 5 whys, to understand your reasons and let go of needing to control them.
Then step A, apologize for the past pressure. Ask open-ended questions. Use that motivational interviewing style to help them explore their feelings and maybe create some internal tension for themselves.
Then step B, back off completely on the pressure. Observe their behavior quietly. Continue your own modeling. Give them vital space and time for their motivation to maybe emerge.
And finally, step C, celebrate any little bit of progress you see, immediately, positively, linking their effort to pleasure while you keep modeling the positive change yourself.
The whole thing feels designed to take your tension out of the equation and create an environment where, if change happens, it feels like it was their idea all along, driven by them.
Exactly. And the source is realistic, Change might happen fast, or it could take weeks, months, maybe even years, maybe never.
Yeah, I did briefly touch on that. If, say, 6 months after doing the ABC loop, nothing has changed and the situation is really not okay for you, you might have to consider if it's a deal breaker.
Right, because it's not fair to anyone to just keep complaining about something you can't change and aren't willing to live with.
But the most important change, the one that's kind of guaranteed through this whole process,
Yeah.
it's your change, isn't it?
Absolutely. By letting go of the pressure, focusing on acceptance, focusing on your own let me,
Mm-hmm.
you fundamentally shift the dynamic in the relationship, whether they change in the way you originally wanted or not.
You become less frustrated, more loving.
And paradoxically, probably a lot more influential in the long run.
And the source kind of hints these ideas can even be used when someone is really struggling, like spiraling.
Which sounds like a whole other deep dive.
It definitely sounds like it, yeah. So, thinking about all this, what does it mean for you listening right now? Maybe think about that situation, that person, where you felt the most stuck, the most frustrated, trying to get them to change.
Yeah.
Could shifting your own approach away from pressure towards acceptance, curiosity, and just focusing on your own modeling, could that actually make a difference?
Just consider the quiet power of living the change you want to see. Doing it because it genuinely works for you, with zero expectation that anyone else has to follow. That subtle, consistent influence. It might be way more effective than you think.
That's been our deep dive for today. We really hope you found some valuable things to think about.